Hi, I'm Pattu from Free FinCal, and that's right, you cannot choose the right mutual fund. I did not say you cannot choose the best mutual fund. That is also true. You can neither choose the best mutual fund or the right mutual fund. And the reason I'm making this video is because I have seen too many financial advisors say, hey, look at the past returns. Look at the huge difference between the best performer and the worst performer. You should know how to select mutual funds. Otherwise, you will not be able to choose the right mutual fund. This is the kind of logic peddled by financial advisors. Even people I thought were mature, they peddle this kind of advice and say they give people the impression that it is possible to choose the right mutual fund. That is a mutual fund that will not end up as a worst performer or among the worst performers in the future. Please recognize that this is not possible. And you cannot look for one nice method by which you can choose the best fund and you can start an SIP and your life is set. That's not how the capital markets work. I mean, yesterday I had talked about, I made a video on is it possible to choose or is it possible to buy and sell mutual funds using star ratings. I saw a comment that it is confusing. Of course it's confusing. If you are looking for best mutual funds and a best investment strategy, there are plenty of personal finance YouTubers who know how to get subscribers, who know how to get views, creating such nonsense. Please go to their channel. If you want to be a little open-minded about the whole process and recognize there is some amount of luck involved in wealth generation and you must actively manage it to some extent, then be here. Otherwise, you are on the wrong channel. So, I will explain what I mean by this. So, you can go to Morningstar India, and if you go to tools, you can go to mutual funds. Also, they also rank Ulips. In today's post, which I put a link in the description box, I've used the same logic and I've compared mutual fund. This page, I've compared results from this page for mutual funds and insurance. But for this post, I will just use mutual funds. I'll talk about Ulips in a separate video because that makes sense to me to keep it in a separate video. So this is the mutual fund page, and this is the 10-year performance, and this is the category. There are different categories: aggressive allocation, conservative allocation, dynamic asset allocation, depending on the kind of equity allocation in the portfolio. Then you have the large cap, mid cap, small cap, etc., sector funds, and then you have the fixed income funds and so on. Please recognize there are three columns here: the category average, top performer, and the bottom performer. The category average per se, the idea of an average is not strictly valid here because just because something can be easily calculated, the average can be easily calculated, doesn't mean it's valid. The returns should fall on a bell curve for the idea of an average to be true, and therefore don't take this category average too seriously. But look at the difference, the gap in returns between the top performer 20.5% and 10.2%. That's in the aggressive allocation is about 10%, it's about 5% in the conservative allocation. In the dynamic asset allocation, it's about 6%, a little more than that. Look at the equity savings category, but probably because some funds did not have, were not equity saving funds in the history. Even that is about a huge range, but don't worry about equity savings. Retirement is not so bad because many of the funds here are kind of fixed income kind of funds, I think. Look at the children's funds, that's like 10%. Fund of funds, they can be different categories and so on. Multi-asset allocation, again, more or less recent category, but even then there's a big difference here because some funds are old funds here. Because Quantum has a multi-asset allocation fund, Axis is a multi-asset allocation, SBA has multi-asset allocation fund. These are old funds, much before the new rules came in. Everywhere, whatever category you see, there is a huge difference in the spread of returns. Now the point is, you can look at, you can do any kind of analysis, you can ask for reviews from me. Even if I say in my review, invest in this fund, what is the guarantee that this will end up being a top performer in the future, and that it won't become a bottom performer? Nothing, right? So why is there so much lack of self-confidence in selecting mutual funds? And if you are, then don't call yourself a DIY investor. There's no such thing as trying to be a DIY investor. Either you are a DIY investor or you are not. Yeah, there's nothing in between. You must, my request to you is to please recognize that it is not possible to choose the top performer of the future. It is only possible to choose the top performer based on past data, but that does not mean anything for the future. Therefore, do not get hung up on the idea of choosing the right mutual fund. Do not get hung up on the idea of choosing the best mutual funds. Just make a choice. Whatever it is, make a choice. My suggestion is, if you are a new investor, let us say lunchtime for you starts at 1 o'clock, and you want to start investing in a mutual fund, and you have to and you want to make the first investment. Before 2 o'clock, that is the end of your lunch hour, you should have finished the transaction. You should have chosen the mutual fund, had your lunch, and finished the mutual fund transaction, assuming you are already KYC compliant. That is all. 1 hour. For a new investor, it should take no more than 1 hour to choose a mutual fund. I don't understand why there is so much confusion. For older investors, it should take 10 minutes. That's all. Because however much effort you put, however much time you spend, the future is unknown. The fund can dip in performance. You should know how to review a mutual fund for your particular goal. Can you stay invested? Should you change? What should you do? Those are the things, the supposed gyan that you should be talking about. You should be discussing about. You should be learning about. That is what I would like to focus on, because those are the questions that came to me when I wanted to. So I had made my investments. Those are the questions that I came to me, and that is how I started blogging, because I wanted answers for my own questions. For example, I asked a question: when should I exit a mutual fund? I did not get good answers to this question. I did not get intelligent enough answers to my question. Therefore, I went about learning more and analyzing it. Of course, for me, learning more is not reading more. For me, it is digging into data and numbers, but you can choose whatever method you want. I would suggest that you get used to numbers. If you want to be a DIY investor, you must not shy away from numbers. Learn how to measure risk. I will talk about this in subsequent videos. There are 5 ways to measure risk by looking at different aspects. There's only one way to measure returns. So risk management is more important. You should be able to quantitatively assess how much your portfolio is moving up or down. Entire portfolio, not just a particular fund. So do not focus on selecting the right fund. Do not get hung up on this. And if you read today's post linked below, for this very reason, I have explained that you should not choose Ulips at all, because they do not have any kind of freedom. I'll talk about that in a separate video. This is all I wanted to say. If you think I'm confusing you, if you think I'm peddling different methods, this is not the channel for you. This is the channel for open-minded people. And please recognize, the next time you ask me for a review, it's all fine, but when you ask me for a review, the person who benefits the most is me, because I get people to watch that review. It's financial porn. So instead of asking me for a review, there are tools available, free tools available at FreeFinCal. I have showed you how you can do reviews based on Morningstar fund page, based on the value research fund page. Just quick reviews, you can do that. Please make an effort to do the review yourself, then you will benefit. If you ask me for a review, I will benefit, which is fine for me. I don't mind. But the point is that you must also recognize that why are you asking a review? To start investing in that fund? But how long will you invest? When will you quit? I can tell you today that based on past data, the fund is good. So suppose I say start investing, I will not be there to tell you when to stop investing. Therefore, focus on what matters the most. You should know when to stop your investments, when to rebalance your portfolio, how to rebalance your portfolio based on your personal goals. So focus on those aspects of personal finance. Those are the aspects of personal finance which nobody is searching for in Google. This is a tragedy. Well, that's about what I wanted to say in this rant. I'll catch you again later in this video. So I'll be showing you how to measure make those risk measurements. So please stay tuned. I'll catch you later. Bye bye.